welcome back to Scott Swing Sports here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back here by myself again. My dad will probably be here next week because he's off on Thanksgiving break. So let's get into the picks right now. First game out, Memphis and Houston tomorrow night. Give me Houston at home. I think Houston knows they have to win this game to get a shot at Cincinnati in the American Athletic Conference Championship game. So give me Houston at home over Memphis. Next up, San Diego State and UNLV. Give me San Diego State on the road. I think the Aztecs have been playing very well this year. Give me San Diego State on the road over UNLV. Next, Charleston Southern heading into Athens to take on Georgia. Give me Georgia at home. I think Georgia's been playing very well this year. Definitely, in my opinion, the best team in the nation right now. So I'm going to go with Georgia at home over Charleston Southern. Next up, Wake Forest and Clemson. Should be a good game here. I'm going to go with Wake Forest on the road. I think Wake has been probably the best team in the ACC this year. So I'm going to go with Wake on the road over Clemson. Next up, Iowa State and Oklahoma. Oklahoma knows they have to win this game to keep their slim college football playoff hopes alive. Give me Oklahoma at home over Iowa State. I think they're going to get back on track this week. After losing to Baylor last week, I'll go with Oklahoma at home over Iowa State. Next up, Prairie View and Texas A&M. I'm going to go with Texas A&M at home. I think Texas A&M's been very good this year. Probably, in my opinion, one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the SEC this year. So give me Texas A&M at home over Prairie View. Next up, Tennessee State and Mississippi State. Give me Mississippi State. I don't think they'll look ahead next week to the Egg Bowl next week between Ole Miss and Mississippi State. I'll go with Mississippi State at home over Tennessee State. Next up, Illinois and Iowa. I think Iowa's going to stay on track here. Give me Iowa at home over Illinois. Next up, Georgia Tech and Notre Dame. Give me the Irish. I think Notre Dame has a very good team this year. They have a slim chance to make the playoff right now, so I'll go with Notre Dame at home over Georgia Tech. Next up, Arkansas and Alabama. Give me Alabama to secure the SEC West here with a win. I think Nick Saban knows that it doesn't matter what he does the next 2 weeks. It all matters on what he does in the SEC championship game against Georgia. So I'm going to go with Alabama here at home over Arkansas. Next up, SMU and Cincinnati. Should be a good game here. Probably Cincinnati's toughest game besides the Notre Dame game. I'm going to go Cincinnati at home. I think they're a better team than SMU is, but I think this game will be much closer than people think. I think SMU's getting a little bit disrespected this week. Give me Cincinnati at home over SMU. Next up, Michigan and Maryland. Michigan knows that their season comes down the next week against Ohio State, so give me Michigan at home on the road against Maryland. Next up, Nebraska and Wisconsin. Give me Wisconsin to get a win here at home. I think Wisconsin's been playing very well this year, so give me Wisconsin at home over Nebraska. Next up, Virginia and Pitt. Give me Pitt at home. I think Pitt is very good this year. Very nice play with them this year. So I'll take Pitt at home over Virginia. Next up, UAB and UTSA. UTSA, my mom thinks should be higher ranked, undefeated, haven't lost yet. I'll go with UTSA at home. I think they've had a soft schedule, but they haven't lost yet, so I'll go with UTSA at home over UAB. Next up, BYU and Georgia Southern. Give me BYU on the road. I think BYU's been playing very well this year. BYU's just hoping that Cincinnati can have a loss in there somewhere so they can get a spot in the Group of 5 game for the New Year's 6th, but I don't think they will. Give me BYU over Georgia Southern. Next up, Syracuse and NC State. NC State's needing a little bit of help to get into the ACC championship game. I don't think they're going to get it, so I'll go with NC State at home over Syracuse. Next up, Baylor and Kansas State. Baylor coming off that huge win last week against Oklahoma. I'm going to go with Baylor on the road. I think Baylor's a better team than Kansas State is, so I'll go with Baylor on the road to get it done against Kansas State. Next up in Oregon's probably toughest game on the schedule besides the Ohio State game a couple weeks back in week 2, as they head into Salt Lake City to take on Utah. 50 degrees at kickoff between Oregon and Utah this week. Give me Oregon on the road. I think Oregon knows they have to make a statement in this game, and they'll do just that. Give me Oregon on the road against Utah. Next up, Vandy and Ole Miss. Give me Ole Miss at home. I think Ole Miss is a better team than Vanderbilt. Again, I don't think they look ahead to the Egg Bowl next week, so give me Ole Miss over Vandy. Next up, Oklahoma State and Texas Tech. Give me Oklahoma State on the road. I think Oklahoma State knows that, again, their season all comes down to next week. Bedlam between Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, so I'll go with Oklahoma State on the road over Texas Tech. In the college game day game of the week, Michigan State heading in to the Big House. No, my bad, heading into the Horseshoe to take on Ohio State. I'm going to go with Ohio State here at home. I think Ohio State's a better team, but 19 points is way too much here. I'll take Michigan State in the points, but I think Ohio State finds a way to win this one at home, and I think they get ready for next week against Michigan. Next up, New Mexico State and Kentucky. Give me Kentucky at home. Kentucky's been playing very well this year. Probably the second best team in the SEC East. So I'll go with Kentucky at home over New Mexico State. Now onto the NFL games for the week. First out tonight, Mac Jones and the Patriots heading on the road to take on Matt Ryan and the Falcons. Give me the Patriots at home. I think on the road. I think the Pats have not lost on the road this year. So give me Mac Jones and the Patriots to stay perfect away from Gillette this year with a win on the road against the Falcons. Now into Sunday's games, the Indianapolis Colts heading into Buffalo to take on the Bills. Give me Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills to get a win here at home. I think the Bills know that they have the Patriots right on their heels right now, so they got to find a way to stay atop the AFC East. And I think they'll do just that here. Give me the Bills at home over the Colts. Next up, the Baltimore Ravens heading into Chicago to take on the Bears. Give me Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to play much better than they did last week, like they did on Thursday Night Football last week against the Dolphins. Give me the Ravens on the road against the Bears. Next up, the Detroit Lions, who are not going to go 0-16 this year after getting a tie last week, as they head into Cleveland to take on potentially Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns. Give me the Browns to keep their playoff hopes alive here. I think the Browns know they got to win a lot of these easy games if they want to make the playoffs. So give me Baker Mayfield and the Browns at home over the Lions. Next up, the Houston Texans heading into Nashville to take on the Tennessee Titans. Give me the Titans at home. I think the Titans might be the best team in the NFL right now. So I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans at home over the Houston Texans. Next up, the Green Bay Packers heading into Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Give me Aaron Rodgers and the Packers on the road. I think he is very motivated to win a Super Bowl this year. He feels like he's been disrespected by the media and everybody else. So give me Aaron Rodgers and the Packers on the road over the Vikings. Next up, the Miami Dolphins heading into New York to take on the Jets. Give me Tua and the Dolphins on the road. I think the Dolphins will find a way to get a win here. Joe Flacco started quarterback for the Jets this week. I'm going to go with Tua and the Dolphins on the road to get it done against the Jets. Next up, the Saints heading into Philly to take on the Eagles. Give me Trevor Siemian and the Saints on the road. I think the Saints know they got to keep up with the Bucs, who are falling apart right now. I'll go with Trevor Siemian and the Saints on the road to get it done against the Eagles. Next up, the Washington football team heading into Carolina to take on the Panthers. Give me Cam Newton and the Panthers at home. I think Cam is going to play better this week. He looked pretty good last week, but I think he'll play pretty good this week as well. Give me Carolina at home over the Washington football team. Next up, the San Francisco 49ers coming off that huge win on Monday night, heading into Jacksonville to take on Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. Give me the Niners on the road. I think the Niners are a better team than the Jags are. So give me Deebo Samuel and the Niners on the road to get it done against the Jags. Next up, Joe Burrow and the Bengals heading into Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. I'm done trusting the Raiders. I gave them one last chance last week on Sunday night, and they let me down. So I'm going to go with Joe Burrow and the Bengals on the road to get it done against the Raiders. Next up, the Dallas Cowboys heading into Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Probably the game of the week this week in the NFL. I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs at home. I think they got things back on track last week against the Raiders. And I think that they know they got to win a lot of games if they want to make the playoffs. So I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs at home over the Cowboys. Next up, Arizona and Seattle. In Seattle, give me Kyler Murray and the Cardinals if he plays this week. He's been out the last 2 weeks. So give me Kyler Murray and the Cardinals on the road to get it done against Seattle. Next up, the Pittsburgh Steelers heading into LA to take on the Chargers. Give me Justin Herbert and the Chargers at home. I think Big Ben probably won't play this week again because he's still on the COVID list. So I'm going to go with Justin Herbert and the Chargers at home over the Steelers. Now into Monday Night Football. Giants heading in here to Tampa to take on the Bucks.
Woo! Go Bucks!
Jeez. I guess I'll take the Bucks at home. This is
Go Bucks!
This is their last chance. They need to impress this week if they want to keep up with all these other teams ahead of them in the standings right now. So I think Tom Brady gets it right this week. Tom Brady's only lost 3 games in a row once in his career. I don't think it happens this week. Give me Brady and the Bucks at home. Much closer than people think against the Giants.
Bucks.
And that will do it for this episode of Scott's Weekly Sports Today, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be back next week. Hopefully with my dad back next week because he's on Thanksgiving break. And I'll see you guys right back here next week on Scott's Weekly Sports. See you later, guys.